Fear not, denizens, parade is here, aka the bringer of rain, aka father of the sea and sun, aka king of the core. And today we have a very special episode, and I am with my co-host, the host of the Celebration Cantina, Uncle Sheev on twitch.tv, aka the Wizard of Oscars, Eli from the Fan Awakens. How are you today, sir?
I am great. I am in another blue shirt. I want it to be noted, this is a different blue shirt. Go back and check. Different shade. Representing Neil Nation once again. I'm excited to talk about this episode.
Neil Nation, stand up. Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this episode with you. Zero friends again. And what an episode this was. Before we jump into it, like always, we have to do a little bit of housekeeping. The reigncore YouTube channel where you're at now. Please like, comment, subscribe. We would like to know your thoughts on this episode too. And if you have any predictions, we usually have predictions throughout the episode. You can tell us we were wrong. I just edited episode 5 and we were wrong a lot. Quite wrong.
Pretty wrong.
Quite wrong.
Just running our mouths.
Yeah. We had so many grand ideas for the Star Wars universe as we were in the writing room. And Bryce Dallas Howard said, no, not this time, guys. Not this time. But where can people find your stuff, Eli?
You can find me at the Fan Awakens everywhere and Uncle Sheev everywhere.
Yeah. And
pretty much it.
You did your top movies of 2024 recently.
I did. I need to make a post about it, but is on the fanawakens.com. Top 10 of 2024. We're going to revisit that in about a month when I see everything else, and we're going to see how it stacks up. But yeah, the top 10's out there. Number 1. You can guess if you want, but go to fanawakens.com, check it out.
Yeah. I gotta get over there and look at that myself. But we are here to talk about episode 6, like we said before. And Eli, search your feelings. Tell us what you know to be true. What do you think of this episode?
I thought it was a good, fun episode. We got to dive into those characters a bit more. With we got to have some tension within the friend group, if you will.
Right.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought that Wim had his, he had a nice little moment. Mm-hmm. But I thought Neil, was being adorable.
Yeah.
It takes us to the end, though. I think this is propelling us to the end of the season, in a way that I just am so pleased by. I just think that too often I think we've had a lot of shows, even shows that I've liked in Star Wars, that kind of meander around here and there. The movie's just been pushing forward, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. So I'm a little cold on this episode, and maybe I think I'm a little too dumb for the nuance of the episode. I think maybe because I was looking at reviews. And I was like, where is it not connecting for me?
Sure.
There's a lot of things I enjoy in this episode. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a bad episode, but I'm just not as high on it like I was the last one. The last one was your adventure, your Indiana Jones. We found the treasure room. There's deception. There's lies. And, we're moving forward, like you were saying, in the plot. For this one, we're going deeper into the conflict with the kids. But I feel like, and we'll get to it, KB and Fern, I don't know if we're calling it bumping heads, because it does feel one-sided, where KB has this feeling, but she's not expressing it, and she expresses it to Wim, and so now we understand what's going on. I feel like it came out from nowhere, but we can talk about it, and it happens pretty early in the episode. I just wanted to hit on the stool falls, and now they're doing the sliding thing, and I was like, oh, this is fun. This feels very whimsical. This feels very adventure, but I was like, this is violent. Because
it is,
when watching it the first time, you don't really notice. And I'm not sure how many times you watched the episode. But when KB's body comes out, she's already like, I was like, is she dead? She looks dead. If I didn't watch the episode before, her body doesn't move. And if you're in those like sliding things, you could be hitting the back of your head. Your head could be jostled. And so I was like, is that what happened to her when she pops out? But they reference something going on with her animatronics, and the kids are very concerned. What was weird was hey, there's something wrong with you now, but then there's also something wrong with you later, and we don't even see kind of like any fixing going on. Or she's like, oh, let me reboot your system. It felt like a weird scene, and it was more dialogue than showy. And
Sure.
I
Yeah.
was even a little thrown by, on her visor, she had like, it looked like putty, but I guess it was supposed to be dirt, and then it's like not there, and I was like, that's an interesting continuity thing. And it just
Yeah.
stood out to me because I was like, what's on her face? And it was only on her visor, nowhere else. Yeah, I don't know how you felt about the conflict, and if it just doesn't feel natural. It just felt like it was a plot point just to have that plot point or that beat.
I got to tell you, I did watch this episode once.
Okay.
It was about 11 p.m. on January 31st. I was a little bit tired, but I will also say that sure, I do agree that it definitely felt like just a plot point to kind of serve the characters more than like to serve the story that they'd already laid out necessarily. I think that if you do go back, you can probably see, yeah, they probably didn't lay out like this moment building between KB and Fern that much,
Agreed.
but
Yeah.
Fern also had been, she tells KB to do things all the
That's
time.
true.
I
That
think
is
she's
true.
like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that I didn't have a problem with it because once KB kind of talked to Wim about, the issue she has with Fern and with herself and things, I'm like, you know what? I do kind of, I can see that just from how the story's gone so far.
Yeah.
Not that they necessarily planted like direct seeds like, oh man, like KB's like not happy with Fern, but I can see like, okay, Fern does. I'm like, it made me think back a little bit. Fern does kind of just expect KB to do things and tells KB to do things.
Actually, yeah, yeah. You saying, and that's why I love doing these podcasts with you, because I'm like, I need another perspective of like,
Sure.
where is my brain right now? But yeah, if you actually look back at the previous episode, she is just kind of commanding KB to do things. I thought about when SM33 was tied up. She's like, "Okay, B, turn him on," and KB
Yeah.
gives her a look like, "I gotta turn him on." And actually, now I think it is actually a really good conflict, because it's not that KB isn't capable, but it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, stop making decisions for me and not really considering anyone else's input. So yeah, I think you make a good point there.
And I think it's one thing that like I get Fern's like, their reflections of their parents in certain ways. I guess
Sure.
Fern more than anyone in that, her mom is in a place of power. She's a
Yeah.
leader in the community and everything.
Right.
And even though Fern seems to sometimes like go against that, she didn't want to wear her, top of the class badge that she has all the
Yeah.
time, things like that. She does still have those traits.
Yeah.
And like I get it. I do think though that now that we're through 6 episodes, this does definitely, and this isn't a bad thing, it's just what it is. I like it. I like the story enough. I do think that it's like Fern and KB's story more than like women Neil almost seem to serve the same purpose at this point, where Neil has the benefit of being this like, I don't know, he has the better moments, I think, but I do
Yeah.
think that they have sort of landed into the same purpose more or less as like the support for, Fern and KB's friendship more than like
Yeah.
their own kind of. But yeah, I was in, Wim had his moment. He did have a nice moment
He did have a
in this,
nice
and he had
moment. Yeah.
a nice moment with KB. And I know we're kind of jumping around, but I really did like that moment. I'm like, Wim, you're all right. He's like, oh, you can just be friends with me and Neil. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. Very
it's
sweet.
sweet,
Very, very sweet. But yeah, I think you're right. And I forget that because we're watching it in weeks
Yeah.
instead of like binging the whole thing, it is harder to go, oh yeah, that's right, there was references to that in previous episodes. I'm just forgetting as a viewer. So hopefully you guys watching the show or listening in also can find this helpful and relatable as we go through. But we have Jod come out of the hole. He's laughing. He's all decked out in treasure. He's all, he's like, I did it. I did it. I'm on top. I have a lightsaber. I have a droid. I have a ship. Like, this guy's just coming up. And I think this is actually a fun scene where he gets up in front of all the rich and the hostess. And behind him, Jaleel White, he's still alive. No acid
Still
damage
alive,
that we
man.
can see. And Pocket, too. Super happy to see Pocket again. Because that's one of my favorite alien looks right now. But what do you think about this part?
I was surprised, but I was happy. I was like, I just had the feeling, we don't see the dead body.
Yeah, you felt bad.
He's too cool looking of a character. I feel like if you want to kill him, you got to do it on screen.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited to see that too. And I just, you're right. He's so great. Jude Law is he's awesome, you know.
Yeah,
And just coming out, he's got the bling on. He's like got his arms full.
yeah,
I'm ready to
yeah,
go get this hit this mint. And you know, they rained on his parade pretty quick.
yeah.
And I think it kind of goes back again to the title of the episode. No
Oh yeah,
friends again is what
zero
it
friends,
was
zero
called.
friends.
Zero friends. Yep.
Yeah, actually,
And I
yeah,
mean,
good
he
point.
he doesn't have friends. He uses people. He manipulates people. He gets caught once again by the same crew that he used to, you know. And he's kind of right back where he started. Obviously, now he has his final chip to play, if you will.
Yeah,
I thought it was a fun scene getting, you know,
trying
he was
to,
on top. You're right. He went through this whole journey,
yeah.
brought these kids along, used them until he didn't need them.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't reference going down to get that treasure with that crew. Because again, if they're just looting and satiating themselves for the moments, I feel like let's go back down there to go grab the rest of the treasure. And there's like no conversation of that. It's just like get Silva back up here. We're gonna run his trial. Let's kill him. Maybe the plan is to go back down there, or
Yeah.
Lanupa might be one of those like, hey, we don't really mess around here, but
Maybe it's a pirate code thing. You know, pirates like, he scorned us once, he scorned us twice. We got to make an example of this
hey,
guy.
maybe,
People aren't gonna take it seriously, you know.
yeah,
But they
maybe.
don't. They don't say that, so I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what the rest of the pirate code is. They'll have to put out a book or a comic book. But referencing that scene, I didn't like it the first time. It just felt it felt a little corny to me. But
Sure,
the pirates are dumb. I think we
they are
established
dumb.
that they're idiots.
Yeah,
And him
I agree.
and Jod being the charismatic guy, and he could talk his way out of any situation. I think that's fun to have on screen or to watch. But it just felt too on the nose, I guess. Like, oh yeah, this is how he's gonna get out of it. Like I didn't feel any tension, right?
Yeah,
And they try to establish like, oh, if you don't follow through this time, like how many chances are you gonna give this guy? Just shoot him and get
sure.
it over with. But they
Yeah,
push his head against the airlock thing, and I was like, I wish you just showed that first and then do the trial. But
but you know what? I think that speaks more to the greed of pirates. It's like, you know, even
sure,
with Jod, like I think about it with like characters like Han Solo too, and like with Jod, with they give you this sense that they can talk their way out of everything,
yeah,
but they almost never talk their way out of anything at all. He pretty much pays everyone.
yeah,
Everything he gets out of, it's like it's just pirates paying pirates or pirates getting out of things with pirates by promising money. Which like, no, we know you've crossed this before and you've failed before, but hey, he might be right. He might be right. So let's give it a shot. Like we got to give it a shot because it's money, right?
right,
I don't even know what they would do with that money if they actually got it. Like I don't. I know he in this episode he has his whole monologue saying, you know, you can buy your entire, you know, entire planet or whatever.
yeah,
They probably wouldn't do that. They'd probably just sit with it in a
yeah.
room. But like,
Hide it somewhere.
just
They're gonna mess it up. They're idiots. I don't know. It was just like, oh hey, X character, you wanted
yeah,
this, and now I could give you the ocean, and oh, I know you wanted a fleet and all this stuff, and
yeah,
I was like, I kind of want to just move on from it. But I get it. I understand the intention. I just don't know if I'm a fan of the execution. And it was,
I get you.
it was a part of the episode, and we could just move on from it, and they're gonna go to Atten because he has the coordinates and everything. But I'm curious what's gonna go down on the planet. I'm thinking maybe the kids will be put in a predicament where he now has to protect the kids, right? Like if the pirates threaten
Sure.
their lives. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the climax is to it all as we go through. Before I forget, the reason why they leave Lanupa is the X-wing show up,
Yeah,
and I thought that was cool. The sting was still the pirate sting, as it comes in. I thought we would have like more of a dun 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 dun, dun as they come
same.
in, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as heroic because the kids don't get saved. They go, oh, X-wings.
Like, over here. No, they're just
But it was cool. I like the, what do you call it? Not the animation, but the choreography of the dog fight, right?
yeah.
As the
It was pretty.
and it's actually interesting that the pirates are scared of the Republic,
I agree.
the New
It
Republic.
is a cool thing.
Yeah, they're like, oh shoot, X-wings, we got to get out of here. And I was like, oh, that's
Yeah, they're
interesting.
not trying to
They
go
don't
at
feel
'em,
like
yeah.
they're a stronger force than what the New Republic has. So I thought that was a nice little lore-based thing for this
I wonder.
section of the universe.
It's an interesting idea. Like I mean, you can think of it from a few angles, like, oh man, these guys took down that empire, like with these, with these X-wings.
Actually,
Like,
that's
what are they
true.
gonna do
Yeah.
to us? I
Yeah.
don't know. Or like maybe they have heard of the, and maybe that Jedi's gonna come out here. It's like a Batman thing. You don't know when he's gonna.
Yeah.
I heard the Jedi flies an X-wing. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna mess with that, but it was a cool thing, and I didn't really think about it too much, but I think that's a cool. Yeah, it's a cool idea that they're, X-wings are like, yeah, run.
Yeah.
We're not messing with these.
Yeah. 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 They can stop us. So I'm wondering if it's like a weaponry thing or a skill thing.
I guess it's it could be as simple. I guess it's like they're space cops. You don't want to like
It's the
get in
cops.
that kind of
Get out
trouble.
of here.
Yeah.
I do
um.
like how what you said though about it. They took down the Empire. Like it was a
Yeah.
huge force in the galaxy. I know the pirates definitely wouldn't mess with Imperials
No.
with their star cruisers and things like that. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just have that reputation now. A couple of funny things was the trash crabs and
Yeah.
Wim being Wim. They're
Well,
sentient.
it
They're
was
sentient.
so funny. I mean, it's such a whim thing. He was totally wrong. He was totally wrong. And I just kept thinking, man, this kid is Ezra. This kid is Ezra.
No, I
When
okay.
you-
So when in that part of the episode, thinking about Ezra versus Wim, maybe at this point in their lives, at the age they are, maybe they are closer. But Ezra matures so much more.
He does.
He matures
He's
so much
older
more.
though.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
older.
he's older.
And even it reminds you of Ahsoka, when they find
very
Ezra,
true.
he's following the little creatures
Yeah.
to go find Ezra. And I'm
Oh right.
like, I
Yeah.
told my brother, I'm like, hey, you think Ezra's at the end of this one too?
Probably. There was well, before I get to that part, the trash crab bit was really funny because they're just repeating the last words that Wim says, and he thinks that they're like talking to him.
So
What an
funny.
idiot. And I like the design of the trash crabs, like the protocol droid leg. There was a stormtrooper helmet on one.
That's really cool.
Towards the end, and then one of the droids that Luke trains with in New Hope, where it's shooting at him.
Yeah.
One of the trash crabs has one on its back, but the reveal of the big one was super cool, and I forgot it was in it, even though it was in the first trailer. And
Oh, was it?
yeah, it was in one
I
of the
remember
first
it. That's
first or
awesome.
second trailer of Skeleton Crew, and I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get a big cool monster, and it's called like Tetanus. I think is they named it Tetanus on the Instagram.
I get it.
Star Wars leaked the name, and it's cool because they did a miniature of it. It's stop motion.
Dude, yeah, I thought so
Yeah,
from the look, and I thought I thought it was really cool. I love when they do that stuff.
yeah,
I mean, it's going back to the roots of Star Wars, and I think that stuff is really, really cool.
yeah. They did like a zoom in on some of the parts of
Yeah,
the crab, and there's like a R2 unit stuck in its shell as
that
well.
stuff is so cool. I'm sure
Yeah,
the people who were working on that had a ton of fun.
yeah.
I'd love to see the behind the scenes on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looked awesome. But yeah, KB and Wim separated, and KB or not KB, Fern and Neil are climbing. And he's like, Fern, slow down. She's like, come on. He's like, I don't have spider legs like you.
Yeah.
KB, Kiriana Crater. Shout out to her, man. I talked about Fern in the last episode being a good actress, and even working with Jude Law is probably an honor within itself. But her and Wim here, and their back and forth, and the way the dialogue was written, there was actual tension for me. I was like, is this little girl gonna die?
Yeah.
And then the bit about the reason why she is the way she is, she says there was an accident.
Yeah.
And so I was like, whoa, that's what happened. And I'm like, did Fern put her in an accident? Because they do a lot of like speeder bike things.
Random, yeah.
They're being kids, and we're all do that riding
Being
a bike with
reckless
no
and
helmet.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, I wonder if there was an accident, something Fern and KB were doing that put her in this position, especially where the back of your skull, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that is.
And I think that was an interesting point for the character, like makes it a little bit more deeper, and for Wim to have to help her with that. I don't think he realized like this was a life or death situation.
No, yeah.
Because she mentions it to him, and he's like, "Wait, what?" Poor Wim.
She was exceptional in that scene though.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was really I mean, yeah, that's definitely her best scene of the show, like her biggest scene of the show.
Yeah,
Um Killed it, Killed it. Very, very gave that feeling. It's dire. She was, at the end of her line, I thought it was a good scene. I thought it was a really good scene. And it was interesting because yeah, you mentioned the accident and where like I mean that's like your I don't know how much of her head that takes up, but it's quite a bit.
Yeah,
Um
and far in there too, because
Interesting.
you could stick your
Yeah.
hand in and
More
pull that stuff
machine
out.
than man. You know what I mean? Like
Right? Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. I thought that was it because it was a question like, oh, she had just like an android? Is she like Lobot?
Right.
Is she like what's going on here? Um so that was it was an interesting reveal there.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, we talked about it a little bit already, but when they finish and she's fine, she was like, "Thanks, Jedi," and I was like, "Oh, that's really
Yeah.
sweet. That
Yep.
was a really sweet
I
moment."
agree.
But yeah, they run into the big trash crab, and Fern and Neil have to jump onto whatever those droids are that are picking up the Onyx Cinder to put in the trash heap. Fun scene, fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it crashes, and then we get our Toy Story 3 moment as this big
Yep.
destruction, this destruction dumpster of a droid ship thing. I don't even know what that was. Is gonna tear apart the Onyx Cinder, and I love how they're like on the ridge, and they're like, "It's about to destroy a ship," and they go, "Ah!" And they just
Yeah,
like,
it was a good moment too. That is a good point though. Like obviously this show seems to reference a million things,
yeah,
like constantly, and that can it's easy to make that annoying. I
yeah,
haven't been annoyed by it in this show,
no,
but yeah, that was totally the Toy Story 3 moment. I didn't even think about that, but 100%.
yeah, because they're like at the brink of death, almost same visuals, right? They're like looking right at the fire, and it's just consuming and destroying just garbage like it did in Toy Story.
Even like the KB scene, I thought about in the moment too. It's like Iron Man 2, when he has to
Yeah,
take out his heart and it's
yeah,
like nobody knew that was going on and then Pepper has to like try and take out the fried
yeah,
chip with a new one in.
yeah. That's a good pull.
But it worked very well. And then they're like, let's sell some merch, but they said we need a nicer looking Razor Crest here. you know
I didn't even think about
that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh, they're selling toys.
that. They're like, what's better than one iconic ship in a show? Two iconic
Two
ships.
iconic ships. Yep. They can't help themselves. The ship looked cool, so it was cool, and it was a
Yeah.
cool scene. It's like whole destruction. And I'm like, what's the okay. Toys. But it's cool.
That's
It looked cool though.
we'll have to make a clip of it where it just like pulls off and all it says is like new toys, the shiny new toys as it flies off. I like this scene too because it's the kids. This is the skeleton crew. What a
Yeah.
skeleton crew is like the minimal amount of people you could fly a ship with, and this is about that. You could probably cut him out so it could be a smaller,
He's
a smaller
just
crew.
looking.
But I loved his line when he's trying to shoot because I was like, oh, would be a cool moment if you can knock out some of the teeth and it could still be destroying the ship.
Yeah.
But he goes, it's too invincible or something like that, right? As he's shooting it. But they find a way, and Fern again has to make another tough decision as the captain of the ship, and she hits it. And it makes sense where pirates would use junk and stuff to kind of reinforce the shell. And so
Yeah.
this is another very Jada-esque way of getting out of something. It's like, I have a plan B. I have an escape route to take to get out of this situation, which may or may not happen. Like, why would you have two, two parts of your ship? A tractor beam, maybe? Like, whole destruction.
It's
and
interesting.
then you could shoot off and you're still good. I wasn't sure which part of the ship is coming off, but it says hull, so
Same.
you would the outer shell. But that's also a cool little thing about the trash crabs, right? The hermit crabs get rid of their old shell and find a new one.
Good point.
And then the descent of the Onyx Cinder, now the new Onyx Cinder taking off into the sky. So it's just a lot of juxtaposition there, parallels to the storytelling. And I thought the new ship looks cool. I guess it's still called the Onyx. Would we call it the Onyx Cinder still? I don't even know. It's not even Onyx anymore.
I don't know what it'd be. The Silver Cinder,
Ooh, Silver Cinder's good.
I don't know. Maybe that would be kind of cool if they renamed the ship. Like the kids decide to
Oh,
rename it.
yeah.
Like, this is our ship. This is I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell it's called, but
Yeah, it'll be
that'd be a kind of cool thing.
Neil will name it after his girlfriend.
Hey, also my boy Neil had wasn't it in this episode, right? He asked who's gonna fly it,
Yeah.
or again, yep. Like,
And she
"Yeah,
goes,
Neil,
you.
you're the pilot.
Yeah, you're the pilot. Yeah. So he's designated pilot and Wim's gunner, I guess, and KB's engineer. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. They
So
got their Smugglers Run crew set.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a Smuggler's Run as the skeleton crew, but that sounds fun.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I don't know how
I
much
agree.
sense it makes in the Millennium Falcon, but whatever, I would be fine with it.
We can figure that out.
But where's Hondo? Where was Hondo?
Okay, look, I am of two minds with this, right? On one hand, I'm like, well, I was wrong about a lot. But two, I do think it is good. I think it's nice that Bryce Dallas Howard, like on reflection, like, all right, maybe it would have been kind of to make Bryce Dallas Howard just direct because they're doing like a cameo from the
Yeah, yeah,
Mandoverse or something.
yeah.
She's killed it on pretty much all of her Star Wars stuff so far. So I'm glad that she's getting to do other, they're like, oh, well, she's a good director. We'll have her direct, an episode of this, an episode of that. I wouldn't be upset if Bryce Dallas Howard was directing a movie, mostly because I just want more movies. But I think she was great, and I don't
Yeah.
think that it's necessarily fair, maybe, to be like, oh, she's directing, so it must be someone from the Mando
No, no,
universe.
right.
But like, it just would have made sense, I guess, if there was a big cameo, that it would have been that episode.
Let me pitch you something.
Yeah.
The end of Skeleton Crew, the pirates defeated or become friends or whatever with the kids and Ad-Ad, who knows, whatever it's going to be at the end. They
Sure.
go, we still need to talk to the supervisor. They take an elevator all the way up to the top. There's a big chair. It swivels around. Supervisor Hondo Anaka.
No, but I think
It would be dope. It would be dope to see Hondo and oh, what are you guys doing here?
I'm trying to think. I wish I had a better grasp right now on like where Honda, like if there's not that they'd care either, to be honest. I don't know that they'd care if like, oh, well, in this book, Hondo was here.
Oh,
I don't think
sure.
they actually care that much. You know what I mean?
No.
But it would be funny, and I would be cool with that.
It would be
I
fun.
just, I don't think, I think it is going to be, I still think it'll be that captain or something. Like the supervisor can't be,
A named
you know,
character. You don't think the supervisor is a named
well,
character?
no, I think he could be a named character, but it could be that legendary captain. My thing is, I don't know how old he's supposed to be. Like how long ago that was that the
Oh, well,
Onyx Cinder captain disappeared.
yeah, that's actually true because I assumed he was an Old Republic.
Like
But that doesn't
I
necessarily
assume
mean
that, but I don't. I assume that he's old, right? But like how old? Some characters can live hundreds of years.
yeah,
I don't know. Well, we know that he's Oh my
Weequay.
gosh! Yeah.
We
How
actually
long did they
don't
live?
know. The
I guess we don't.
headpiece at the throne was a
Yeah.
Weequay head, but it doesn't
Oh, that
necessarily
doesn't mean it's yeah.
he's Weequay. He might have just had
That's
that as
actually
the art
true.
piece. So
Okay, so yeah, I don't know who he is, but I do think I have a feeling it just feels like everything points to that. They keep referencing him. He crashed there. I don't think there was a skeleton of him in the captain's seat. So I feel like that's gonna happen.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna get. Do
It
you
better
think
not be a droid.
it might be? It could be. Do you think the pirates go good?
No, I don't.
Okay, you think they stay bad. Okay. Do we get to Atten in the next episode? Like at the beginning of the next episode? Because KB already has the coordinates, Jod has the coordinates, so we know the pirates are headed that way.
Damn. All right, I'll say within. Let's imagine the episode's less than 30 minutes.
Ooh, less than 30 minutes. I guess this one was
Minus the
25.
credits. Minus the credits. Yeah, I think we do. I think we get there.
Okay, so we're just in
What about you?
Atten the last episode. Do you think the last episode they leave Atten, the kids, or do you think they stay? I think they have a
Damn.
ship, and I think they leave. Because they're like, oh, you know what? Okay, actually, this is what my prediction is. We're going to do the prediction for the final episode. They're going to get back home, right? We're going to have the pirate conflict. That's going to resolve.
Mm-hmm.
Jod's going to take over. Let's say just Brutus dies, and the pirates go, okay, we'll just follow Captain Silvo. It doesn't matter. They go off and they do their thing. The kids say goodbye. They finish out the year. They're like, oh, it's summer. And they're like, oh, you know what? We still have the silver. We still got the silver cinder here. You guys want to just take a quick little adventure? And like summer adventure. Everyone high fives, freeze frame. The kids go on a little adventure. Now we got our season 2.
I could see that. I mean, I could see that for sure. I think that it would. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow greed kills these pirates, and they all just perish somehow. Uh,
The security droids just mow him down into the blaster fire.
it's so they jump after the treasure as it falls into some lava. I don't know, Schmeagol style. I could see that ending that way, where like the kids get the parents to go on the ship, and like we don't know how to fly a ship, and like well we do, and they take off
Oh, oh
as
yeah, that's a
a
good one
whole
too.
unit.
Yeah,
And it's like oh the kids are flying the ship. Yeah, I think it makes sense for them to leave,
yeah,
or at least it ends on like the I guess the thought of them leaving
yeah.
again or going on another adventure. I think that's interesting. Yeah, let's go with that. I believe. I want to
Okay.
believe.
Do we get a reveal of the great work,
Yes.
which I think is already probably just minting
Yeah, it
datteries.
seems
I,
like
I
it.
feel like that's all that is.
I have one for you.
Yeah, good.
Is this connected to the First Order or the Empire?
I would have to bet it should be.
I agree.
I think again going back to Andor and the payroll, it was some kind of credits. They didn't really zoom in on
Yeah.
it. I wish I looked into that more, but I feel like it's something like that. Yeah, if it because they're still retconning like Project Cinder and bringing back Palpatine again. Maybe Sheev's at the Supervisor Sheev. Oh, that'd be so cool, dude. Oh, that'd be so cool. That would be
That would
my
be awesome. I will admit that would be really cool.
yeah. Because he's been
Long
cloning
have I
things.
waited.
Because I've been demoted into this, middle class. I don't have the. He doesn't have the force powers, right? This clone doesn't
It
have
makes
force
no
powers.
sense. He's breathing heavy, and you're like, what? And he's on life support. He turns around as Sheev.
Yeah. But I think so. My other thing is they mentioned the banking clan. That's a separatist thing. It would be cool to plug in more prequel stuff because
Would be cool.
I think it would just be a cool little nod to that. But I'm for it. I don't know if, and we'll see. I'm not sure if whatever answer we get, I'm gonna be like, that sucked. I'm hoping I'm just like, oh, that was cool. I didn't think of that, and that was cool. Or one of our predictions
Yeah.
comes true, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that just knowing that, I mean, the series was conceived beginning to end, and I trust John Watts, so
Yeah,
I'm sure whatever the ending is, I'm confident that it'll be like a satisfying end to it. We're probably wrong, in most of this, like
yeah.
but it's fun to imagine, and hopefully one of these predictions hit. And then I told you. No, no, it's I'm excited though. I think these last two episodes hopefully will bring it all together and finish on a high note, whether it's season two or not. I don't know whether Jod. Oh, here's one for you.
Yep.
Is Jod gonna make it out?
Yes.
Okay. And will he be good by the end of it? Good adjacent at least.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the smuggler heart of gold type of deal.
Yeah.
This is pirate heart of gold.
Fair.
That'd be my guess, unless we see it where another one. Here's a one for you. Does Jod offer Wim an opportunity to be his first mate or part of his crew, and he doesn't stay on Atten? We got a Screecher's reach. A Screecher's reach.
No.
He's like, I don't want to babysit. I'm not babysitting.
Can you teach me how to use that? He's gonna see Jod use the lightsaber. Maybe he's a Jedi. And then he's like, "Can you teach me?" He's gonna tear that kid's heart out by just making him believe again that he's a Jedi. I mean, someone's got to use that thing again, I think, but maybe
I
not.
think Jod's
It's
going to,
I'm sure he will.
but I think
We still
against
got to
the
learn his
pirates.
backstory.
Yeah, where's our Jod backstory? Is it this next episode? It should be, right? Not at. We don't start with.
I've said
I
that
know,
for the
we said
last I don't know how many episodes, but we have to. I'm not telling people to go look. I'm not. But when we did our episode 1 review, I searched up Skeleton Crew and I saw a spoiler that still hasn't come to fruition.
I have seen the
And
same one.
I'm sure, yeah, you've seen the same
So it's in
one.
the back of my
So,
mind, but I'm not
yeah.
mentioning it. I'm not mentioning it.
Same. And I'm not telling people go look it up either. That's your choice. I would recommend not. It's not that I looked anything up. It's just there. That's on
Yeah.
them. That's on Google. But gotta come. Something with his backstory has to come up at some point.
Unless it's the last. It's the stinger of episode 8.
Maybe.
Which would be weird. It would be so weird to end the show that way. But
I guess, you know what? Not to give a spoiler on something else, though, and I don't know if this is maybe his headspace, but John Watts, I guess he does end some things on The Old Man season 1. Ended on a pretty big cliffhanger.
okay.
The Spider-Man movies, even though they're not big, like, one of them is, he ends those on cliffhangers too. The first one and the second one especially.
The JJ Abrams,
Yep.
or JJ Abrams, J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, and even the first one with, like, it ends, not that it's a big cliffhanger, but it ends with someone finding out he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess it would make sense it would track, I will say, to leave it on a cliffhanger. And if they think it's good, maybe it's like, hey, this is how we get another season, if he has that planned. But
one thing I was trying to look up, there was a line that Jod said to Wim, remember when he's crying about missing his parents?
Sure.
Your focus determines your reality. Qui-Gon said that to Anakin when he was testing him for his midichlorians.
That is true.
So
that is true. I read that somewhere too.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool little pull there from John Watts.
What if? I hope not. I hope not. We don't need to see young Jod in the temple. That's all I'll say. That's my one hope we don't see. And maybe they make it awesome. And then I eat my words. I'm like, wow, that's actually really cool. But I don't think we see that.
Yeah, I don't think it's needed. I still think if they do an Order 66, like I said before, it's gonna be outside of the temple, not the attack of.
For sure.
I did think there was a point where when he's on trial, he looks up at the lady pirate. I was like, is that his mom?
Interesting.
Because she's like looking at him. But I mean, they care about the crew, or the crew cares about the captain in some form, because they showed that with the other character who found him in the droid armory thing. And he's like, is that Captain Silva? I was hoping that guy would have been in that crowd. I don't think he was. But that was voiced by Dr. Octopus.
Alfred
Molina voiced that role.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And then
that's awesome.
Shout out to him because he was the first death in Indiana Jones when they're going.
Yes, he was.
The temple.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Full there. I forgot to mention that on that episode where they showed that. But it was Alfred Molina. I thought it was super cool.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
I thought that was a very fun time talking about this episode. Eli, where can people find you?
You can find me here at the Fan Awakens .com, Fan Awakens on YouTube and Instagram and all that fun stuff, and at Uncle_Sheev on Twitch. We're having a fun time trying to put out a lot new stuff this year, so stay tuned.
This is one of our first episodes of 2025, so thank you so much for being here with me, as always, on the reigncore YouTube channel, where you can find videos every week. Go ahead and check out the reigncore Etsy, where we have cool stickers, like we showed in the very beginning of this episode, where you can find Critter Collective stickers and pork stickers and tauntauns and Lothcats. And then check out the Instagram. I'm trying to get back on Ferrex Fridays. I'm wondering if I should post that on just Reigncore, not my Parade Rainer one. Just try to get more stuff on Reigncore. But I have a couple posts that I want to put on there, so check out the Reigncore Instagram and any of our extra links in our links tree in the description below. But that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your galactic day. Punch it, Chewie!